Hello, hello. Welcome to Yin. Please get started any way that you want, whether that's seated on a pillow, lying down, your spine to get up against a wall, whatever you feel like you need today. And start with a big exhale out your mouth. Start to close your eyes. Breathe in through the nose, out the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Inhale and exhale. Bring your lips together. You can lower your chin toward the floor just a little. Bring your tongue to the space just behind your two front teeth. And tuck your tailbone slightly forward to create a more neutral spine, a little bit straighter spine, so that the breath, the prana, the energy can flow freely. And go ahead and notice what you're hearing, what thoughts come up, what you're smelling. Acknowledge all of those thoughts. And start to take your awareness inward. And with your eyes closed, imagine that you're rolling your eyes up to look out your third eye center, the center of your forehead. And in that space is a beautiful purple light. That purple light brings with it a little bit of warmth, softness. In this space, this is where your intuition, your wisdom, your inspiration, and your visions are created or developed. And just allow the rest of your body to begin to melt and soften toward the floor. Before we go deeper into the breath, use these next few moments to adjust your legs, your hips, your arms, your shoulders to make sure everything is just right. And once again, take your awareness to your third eye center. And as the breath comes in through your nostrils, envision that light, that center of wisdom and intuition expands and gets a little bit brighter with each inhale. Now that you've allowed that purple light to expand with each inhale, begin to take your breaths to an inhale and an exhale count of 4, pausing before and after. Let's have a big exhale out the nose. And begin to inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. In 1, 2, 3, 4. Pause. 4, 3, 2, 1. And so on. Go at the space of your inhale and your exhale. Taking the time to be an observer during the pause. Knowing that in this moment you're exactly where you should be. Taking this time to honor the self. Avoid casting judgment should you lose your place. Just begin over again at 1. And right here, take 4 more sets of counting up to 4 and down from 4. Choosing to make those breaths just a little bit deeper. Continuing to see and feel that purple light. And on your next inhale, breathe in through your nose. And open mouth, big sigh out. And slowly start to take circles in one direction, around to the other direction, lowering the chin toward the chest, and then when it gets back to the center, lifting it up toward the ceiling. Make note of which direction you are traveling. And after you complete this next circle, take your circles in the opposite direction. or circle. And slowly bringing your head back to center. You can open your eyes, take a deep breath in. And we exhale, take your right ear toward your right shoulder. And I offer you a couple of options. You can rest your left arm down by your side, or see how far you can wrap it around your low back. Maybe you don't get very far. Maybe you're able to wrap those fingers around the right hip. It's just about opening this left side from the shoulder to the ear. And just be gentle. Maybe you flow into each breath. And take the exhales to that space, releasing any tension. Feeling your body, your muscles, your bones, your brain, your soul let them know that you are safe. You are protected. Slowly relax the left arm down. On the inhale, bring your head upright, and exhale, left ear toward left shoulder. And then again, take your depth with that right arm, maybe just a little behind the back, maybe all the way over to the other side on that left hip. It's all about how far you can go. And if you feel like, wow, this side's really tight, that's okay, that's okay. Allow those exhales intentionally from your mind to go to those areas and release. Maybe you soften the jaw and the arm intentionally to create a little space. Two more breaths. And slowly bring your head back to center. All right, we're going to continue on our Yin journey this evening with that intention still of letting go, tension, fear, moving into a reclined butterfly. This is one of my favorite poses. You're going to bring your prop pillows. If you've got a pillow, maybe two pillows. I've got my bolster vertically placed on the floor behind me. Now you nestle your low back right behind that. I'll go sideways so that you can see that my bolster is right there next to my bottom, not going anywhere. And then I'm going to adjust my hips. I'm going to rock a little side to side, make sure that I'm on my sits bones. And then we're going to support the knees. Once you bring the soles of your feet together, you can use blankets, blocks under both knees, and that's to just help with how much stress that you feel in the inner thighs. Adjust the feet before you lower your spine down. Are your feet too close to your groin area? Is it too much of a stretch? Think 75-80% of a stretch. If they're too close, push them away, but keep them together. And when you're ready, you feel like you've got a good enough stretch in those inner thighs, you can hold onto your bolster. And if the bolster's too much, once you come down, you're like, oh, that does not feel the way I thought it was going to, then just lie down flat on the floor. Once you recline onto your props, take a slow breath in, and then slowly relax the arms toward the floor, palms face up. Now, once again, as you did in the meditation when you were looking up from the inside out through that third eye center, Just start to relax the body, unsqueeze any muscles that you might be squeezing, whether consciously or subconsciously, in your stomach, maybe your bottom. Maybe you're trying to hold those knees toward each other, and so you're activating the muscles in your inner thighs. Just relax, just let it go. And gently open that third eye center, be open to receive. And there's three parts to yin. When you get into the shape, getting into the shape to that point where you feel any compression, any physical stress and tension, when you get into the stretch. And slowly you adjust. So you have your breath work. You find that stretch, and then you find stillness. We're almost to the middle of October. Still working with this intention of releasing fear. In the first week and a half-ish of October, we were focusing on releasing that fear. By last week, it was focusing on the heart chakra. The week before, it was about loving the self. Today we're just going to think about that idea of fear. Fear coming from the unknowing, the inability to be able to control things in life. We have about one more minute here. And of course, the most common fears are fear of failure, and equally as strong, the fear of success. Having to admit or acknowledge and accept that we are worthy and capable of achieving that which we want. Take 2 more breaths. And after those 2 breaths, remind yourself there's a rebound period in between each shape, each pose. So take your time, bringing your knees together, just resting your feet on the floor, maybe stretching the arms or just placing your hands on your stomach, whatever feels like your body wants. Once you've come to a seat, you're going to move into your next shape, which is half shoelace. So half shoelace is a crossing of the knees, knee on knee. It's different than a figure 4 where it's ankle on thigh. This is knee on knee-ish, as best that you can get. But I have a few things I want you to think about. If your hips are tight, consider sitting on something soft, something to give your hip bones a little tilt forward. If you know that when you start to come forward, you don't come very far, that's a sign that either your low back is tight or your hamstrings are tight, among any other muscles back there. So I recommend oftentimes placing something soft under, in this case, the right knee, since the right leg is long. And then let's take a look at the top leg, the left leg. Maybe you're not able to get like this knee on knee. It's okay. Let's say yours half shoelace looks like this. This is the best that you can do, or maybe even almost like a figure 4. That's okay. But get some support. Place a pillow or a blanket under the knee if it's really lifted, because remember, again, we want to support the bones. Maybe this left ankle over here, you got something going on. That's okay. Put something underneath that too. And once you've made sure that you're on those sits bones, we'll exhale to fold forward, and also releasing the neck to the chest. Now, sometimes when we do that, it increases that feeling of the stretch all along the spine and sometimes all the way down the back and into the leg that we're stretching. So just be mindful that maybe dropping your chin all the way to your chest doesn't work with this right leg, and so maybe you've got to keep your head lifted just a little bit. So the idea here is to open up the back of the heart, the space where we receive love, the space where we are most vulnerable, the space that we protect. When we start to open up that space, we start to love ourselves more, and trust ourselves more. It doesn't eliminate fear. Fear of something is always going to be there. It's just part of who we are, and that's okay. When you start to accomplish things, you start to accept yourself and see, or I should say, remind yourself what you're able to do. Remind yourself that it's okay to trust yourself. It's okay to be authentic. Once we begin to get to those places, the fear that's naturally inside of us gets a little bit smaller. And that's when that light, that space in the center of your head, your third eye center, it's when that space starts to go to work. It starts to listen to itself, to just to listen to your wisdom within. You have about 1 more minute on this side. And in this minute, just take a look at where you're at and what you feel, and see if maybe you need to lift your chest, or maybe you can lower your chest just a little bit more, getting a little more into that stretch. And take 2 more breaths. And slowly start to come up. Release that left leg. You might have to bend it and straighten it, or take some rotations of the ankle in and out. It all depends on your body and what you felt. Gently peel away your props that you used. Make a mental note of that side. It's really tight. It's all about being aware of our body at all times. Again, you don't need to place that blanket on the floor under the long-legged knee if you're not tight. If you feel like you can fold forward without the use of a prop to shorten your hamstring a little, by all means, don't use one. Otherwise, let's get that right knee on top of the left, or a shape that allows you to be successful. Slowly layering in blocks. And I forgot to mention on the other side, but if you know figure 4 at the wall, you can always do that. Stretch. This is a little different being seated. It takes the stretch away from just being on the hip or the glute, and takes it a little bit more into the low back, I find. So once you've got everything supported, just exhale and drip down toward your legs, relaxing the arms and the chin and the forehead. And be mindful to what you're feeling along your spine, your low back, and the back of that left leg as you're instructing your chin to lower. Might be causing pain, and that's okay. Now, some discomfort's okay. We've got to stretch the body, but pain is a no-no. So observe if something's tight, and that's okay. Be okay with it. Breathe through it. Trust yourself. There's only been greater strides made in the mental health industry, I would say, in the last 10 to 20 years. 20 might be pushing it. I think one of the things is that when we experience things when we're younger, that we haven't developed that voice. We haven't developed the ability to speak, or we may not even understand what it is that we meet our parents, our friends, our siblings, our grandparents. And without having to learn how to communicate those things, that's when we start to tell ourselves things and we start creating limiting beliefs about things due to fears. The fears of knowing how this feels or how that feels, to be rejected, to feel sadness, to feel heartache. And there's all the cliches. Time heals all wounds, and that which does not kill us makes us stronger, and all those things. But those all have their own place. But many of us aren't wired that way. And for many of us, when we were growing up, our pain came out in different ways. That fear was exhibited through rebellion, anger, promiscuity, you have about one more minute here, but now that we're older, we have that opportunity to communicate. We can go on the internet, we can go on Facebook or Instagram, and we can find other like-minded people who are suffering about whatever it is. Someone that can understand that fear. But fear, like a lot of things in our life that maybe we haven't yet realized or acknowledged, it's about looking inward and finding a different perspective on how to use these things that are a part of who we are rather than being afraid of them. Take 2 more breaths. And again, after you come out of this stretch, you can slowly come up. I'm going to work around the hip area again, one more pose. Even though that one was a lot of focus on the low back and the legs, those are still areas that are right around the hips. Coming into a half frog to maybe set some emotions surrounding fear that we might be holding on to in our hips, in our core, in our low spine. See if we can let some of that go. So you're going to bring whatever soft, larger prop or props that you're using over to the right. And you're going to come face down, and I get a mental picture of the letter H, a lowercase h, or the number 4. So they both make a similar shape with one long line. That's going to be the left side of your body. And the loop is going to be your right leg. So you're going to bring your right knee to ankle, supported on whatever the soft prop is. Then you're going to move your hip to the left first. This way you can get a little more space, start to internally rotate that right hip, and then come all the way down. And feel free to grab a small pillow, blanket, whatever you need for under your head, your chin. Maybe layer your hands and place your head on top. Let your head be the whipped cream on your hand sandwich. Yep, so you're going to be face down. And your right leg is going to be on that prop. And then you're going to adjust that left hip just so that you can, just imagine if you're sleeping face down. Although I haven't slept face down in a long time and only have recently begun sleeping face down on my bed again. And this is the shape actually I find myself in sometimes, is this half frog. So the right knee is bent. Adjust that left hip so you can get as much of your stomach and the left hip flush with the floor. And if it's too much being on a prop, if that's too high, too much of a stretch in the inner thigh, that's okay. Just remove the prop and still leave the knee bent, but right on the floor. And take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Some of you that have taken my Yin class have probably heard me read this story. I haven't read it in a while. The first time I read it was right before Halloween in 2019. I forget now the title of the whole book from which it came, but it was by Elizabeth Gilbert. And it's a letter that she wrote to fear. I'll read it when you move on to the other side, but the gist of the book is about acknowledging and understanding that we all have fear. That we are not alone. The only thing that makes us feel alone is that maybe it's something that we've not shared. And for both sexes, men and women, in different circles, we're meant to be seen as strong, not always allowed to be vulnerable. Maybe even needing to be perfect. But when we acknowledge that fear is not going anywhere, that it will forever be a part of our life, whether that fear is a fear of snakes, or getting a new job, or finding love. Fear is fear. We have less than 1 minute here, but it's about harnessing that fear. And I'm not going to tell you that it happens overnight or that it's easy. But using that strength that we all feel that fear has over us. Getting to a place of understanding that that fear is a part of us. So there is something that we can do about it. Take 2 more breaths. And after those 2 breaths, slowly just slide your legs one next to the other. And you can bend your knees and maybe sway those feet side to side. And then go ahead and move your soft prop just outside the left leg. Place that left knee to ankle on that prop. Go ahead and adjust that prop, slide it down. Yeah, exactly, to get knee to ankle on there. And then adjust that right hip so you get a little bit more of the chest and belly flush with the floor. Excellent. Use a pillow or no pillow under your head, entirely up to you. No right or wrong with that. And take a slow breath in and slow breath out. Dearest fear, creativity and I are about to go on a road trip together. I understand you'll be joining us because you always do. I acknowledge that you believe you have an important job to do in my life and that you take your job seriously. Apparently, your job is to induce complete panic whenever I'm about to do anything interesting, and may I say, you are superb at your job. So by all means, keep doing your job if you feel you must. But I will also be doing my job on this road trip, which is to work hard and stay focused. And creativity will be doing its job, which is to remain stimulating and inspiring. There's plenty of room in this vehicle for all of us, so make yourself at home, but understand this. Creativity and I are the only ones who will be making any decisions along the way. I recognize and respect that you are a part of this family, and so I will never exclude you from our activities. But still, your suggestions will never be followed. You're allowed to have a seat and you're allowed to have a voice, but you are not allowed to have a vote. You're not allowed to touch the road maps. You're not allowed to suggest detours. You're not allowed to fiddle with the temperature. Dude, you're not even allowed to touch the radio. But above all else, my dear old familiar friend, you are absolutely forbidden to drive. You have about 1 more minute on this side. 2 more breaths. Slowly bring your leg next to the other leg. Maybe once again, bend at the knees, letting the feet drip from side to side. Working on a little twist of the spine. So when you're ready, go ahead and roll over onto your back. You will still need that soft prop and maybe a book or a block. Coming into a supine twist. I'm going to start with my bolster on the right side of me. And last time we put same leg on the prop, same leg, same side. This time it's opposite. So when you come down, I've got my prop on the right. I'm going to bring my left shin to knee, knee to ankle, my left shin over onto this prop. So now I'm stacking my hips, my left hip on my right hip. I'm going to shift over as much as I can to the right, and then I'm going to take my block and I'm going to wedge it right behind my right cheek. And then I'm going to relax my hips. This gives me support so I don't feel like I've got to hold my left hip up. And then there may not be a lot of room, but you're going to try to shimmy your right shoulder over to the right, just to try to get those shoulders a little bit flatter toward the floor. Your left shoulder may not touch the floor, and that's okay. You can wedge a blanket or a pillow or something underneath that left shoulder if it starts to cause some pain. If it doesn't bother you and you'd rather not have a support underneath there, you want a little bit more of a stretch, that's fine too. Just take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Courage, not the absence of fear or despair, but the strength to conquer them. And within each of us, we have that strength. Sometimes we have to journey back to that place from which we act on instinct. That place of wisdom, that place of intuition. That is in us, and that is the place from where we see the fear, we feel the fear, but we're also able to move beyond it. We have a little less than 1 minute on this side. Take 2 more breaths. And once you've taken those 2 breaths, remove that prop. If you have a block at your low back, just roll onto your spine. Maybe bring your knees to your chest. You can massage your spine by either just sort of rocking side to side a little or forward and back, whatever your body needs. Then you're going to move that prop to the other side and finish this shape on the other side. Right shin from knee to ankle, stacking your right hip onto your left, wedging that block right behind your left cheek. Beautiful. And take a slow breath in and a slow breath out. We have about 1 more minute on this side. those 2 breaths. Remove any props. Roll onto your spine. Move your body into a shape that you would like to take for your last pose. Either legs up the wall or just lie down right where you are at. Maybe lying down with props under your head, under your knees. So just taking a slow breath in and a slow breath out. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Wiggle your toes and fingers. You can stay right where you are or slowly come up to a seat. Slowly bring your hands to heart center. Thank you so much for allowing me to guide you through your practice today. It was my honor and my privilege. Please take your hands to your lips. I ask that you speak words of kindness and compassion, not just to others, but to and about yourself. And take your hands to your eyes. I ask that you see the beauty and love in others, but also that which lies within you first. And lastly, take your hands to your third eye center. Go and be the best you that you can be, because there is only one you. Deep breath in through the nose, and exhale as we bow forward to seal our practice and honor each other. Blessings and namaste.